I really wanna show you better times. I really wanna show you better days. I really wanna be the sun when it shines. I really wanna watch you come my way. I really wanna show you better times. I really wanna show you better days. I really wanna be the sun when it shines. I really wanna watch you come my way. I really wanna show you better times. I really wanna.
Good afternoon. Well, it's afternoon right now as we're taping.
Yeah, I always say hi. I always say hi, everybody. Good night. Have a good night.
Well, as you know, or maybe you don't know, maybe you're tuning in for the first time. This is Woman of Worth, and my name is Kelly Bowl.
I'm Michelle LaChapelle. I had to just literally stop
I was
myself.
you were going to say
I
something
just changed
different.
my name for those that didn't know that. I almost said my maiden name, so I'm Michelle LaChapelle.
So you've been married to Ken for,
5 years. 5 years.
but you just recently
Changed
changed
my
your
name.
name.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So
it was a good thing.
It takes getting used to
Yeah,
change your name.
It still does.
What an effort to change your name,
Yeah, it is.
especially
Yeah.
during all of this past year. You
Oh,
know,
everything
trying to get
is-
to the registry and
Yeah.
it was really,
Everything is much different.
Yeah.
But
good news. Yay.
as of this past Saturday, wow, it was like the light switch was turned on or
Yeah.
off, or I'm not sure. But
On.
yes, on. Things are back.
Mm-hmm.
Things feel like they're getting back to normal. You know, masks are required, obviously, for people that aren't vaccinated. Some businesses are still mandating that folks wear masks, but for the most part, like for us at the senior center,
Yeah.
when we started back after the holiday, we have told people that, you know, masks are optional if you're vaccinated, and we're not going to ask you because we cannot ask
We
you.
can't, but I did one time.
And I quickly said,
Yeah.
no, we cannot ask. But everybody has been really good. Programs are starting back up. So we're getting busy again or busier. It's a little different having people back in the building, but
It's fantastic. People are happy. They come into our senior center and they're just smiling and happy and just
Right.
out of the house. And you know, now we have exercise programs and our classes are in full swing. So it's such a great feeling.
yeah. First concert was
Yeah.
last week. That was great. It
Yeah,
was
we
well
had-
attended out on the patio.
Yeah, the new patio.
Yeah, so that was a COVID project. It
Mm-hmm.
was a patio that we put into the front. So I think as we reflect on the time that we were closed and now as we're kind of doing this reopening, we kind of look at each other and say, you know, from our personal perspective, wow, okay, we got to find this balance again. We've got to do,
Yeah.
you know, so I'm raising 2 teenage boys. God help me.
Yes. Yeah.
It's all good.
One
It's
who
all
just got
good.
his permit.
Yes,
So that's,
yes.
oh.
So one has a driver's license, one just got his permit, so they'll both be on the road. And so just trying to put everything into perspective and put our lives and our schedules back in order. And
That must have been so difficult for parents during COVID to be having everything at home. And again, that balance of, you know, school and, you know, and trying to get those kids disciplined.
Exactly.
You know,
especially
on-
during the remote time.
And the remote
Yeah.
time, yeah. So
Yeah.
that must have been a real lovely time for people at home. I mean, I don't envy them. I have children they're in their 20s, so you know
Right.
I don't have that right now. But I really was in awe of what was going on with parents at home and them trying to balance their own jobs, and you know, and then their kids and school and work
Exactly.
and life,
Right.
you know, and not getting COVID.
And that too,
You
and
know,
protecting
and,
themselves and doing
yeah.
the right things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a lot.
It is, and you know, I was thinking of that, and I said to Kelly earlier, I said, you know, it's interesting as women to try to find that balance in your life, and you know, I just remember when my kids were little, you know, it was work, it was making sure who was with my children when they were not at school, if I was working, if my husband was working, you know, and that you know, and it really felt like it was, and I think in a lot of places, I hate to say this, but it really felt like it fell a lot on me about the scheduling and what was going on in my home. So we were just talking about that balancing act that
Exactly.
women really have to perform,
Yeah.
and it's difficult.
Keep everything in check.
It
so
does
to
get
speak.
easier, Kelly, just to let you know, as
Okay.
a woman who has 2 children in their
Yeah.
20s.
Exactly.
But bigger kids get bigger problems.
Well, this is true. Yeah, things kind of evolve into other things, but
Yeah.
I already feel it. I mean, with the independence, with the whole driving thing. But anyway, so just trying to keep it all together. And
Yeah.
but today
Yeah.
we have some pretty dynamic guests.
We do.
And talking about work and balance and
know.
being women who are doing some pretty phenomenal things. I don't know if you want to go ahead and
Well, I love
Talk about this.
the Blackstone Valley Express, which I love. There's such great information in this little magazine, this little newspaper. It's fantastic. So this was the first
does this come out monthly or
monthly. This
Yes,
is a monthly.
okay.
This is monthly. So in one of the February 12th to March 12th, so it's like mid-month to
Okay.
mid-month.
Yeah, but it's
So this one was a first part on the Women's Success Network, ready to re-engage for 2021, and one of our guests, Heather Elster, was featured in this first article about the Women's Success Network, which we will talk about in a few minutes. And then the next edition came out with the second part, and then it was our other guest, Jeannie Hebert, was in this one. So we want to really welcome our 2 wonderful guests, Jeannie Hebert and Heather Elster. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah.
And Jeannie, you're with the Blackstone Valley Chamber of
I am.
Commerce.
I'm the president and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce and also now the Education Hub. Yeah, which we built 2 years ago. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you're in that mill building, which is fantastic.
It's beautiful.
Oh, I love that
really.
building.
Yeah, we love the facility, the architectural,
Yeah.
atmosphere there with the granite and the brick, and it's just gorgeous. Wood ceilings, really pretty.
I don't
Yeah.
think a lot of people realize that's back there. I really don't. I just, actually, when we were talking about that about Donna, some people were saying to me, oh, I've never been there,
Right.
and where is that,
Well,
you know.
you probably should know about, it's over 55 subsidized housing above us, so.
Oh, we know that.
Yeah.
Probably
We
many.
know your neighbors.
Yeah, I was going to say. Well, I was going to say
We
many
do.
of the people
Yeah.
that you service probably come from those
Yes.
apartments,
Yes.
and the apartments are absolutely
They're
gorgeous.
gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not overly large, but they're just beautiful. The
Right.
architectural elements are in each and every one, and
Yeah.
the big beams are in each
Yeah.
one. Yeah,
It's a
very
great
nice.
building. Good.
Yeah.
It's just, and there's
Really
a lot
pretty.
in there. I was just so surprised when I went to do
Yeah.
physical therapy there, and
Well, the retail,
Yeah,
the
it's
retail area,
fantastic.
and
Yeah.
the other buildings too, Purgatory, beer is there also.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fulcrum is there, and yeah, so we're pleased to be a part of that, the Heritage
Right.
Corridor.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then we have Heather Elster,
Yes.
and you are Executive Director of
Correct.
the Whiten Community Center.
Yes, and you said it right, which
Yeah.
I'm very pleased about. One of the things that we get a lot is the Whitensville Community Center.
Yeah.
So we like it when somebody says it the correct way.
Or the Whitten Community
Or the
Center.
Whitten Community Center, and then you know they're from out of town.
Yeah, when you hear Whitten,
Oh,
you're
you hear
like,
Whitten.
oh.
Whittensville.
Whitensville or Whitten Community Center, you know,
Yeah.
oh, that's the red flag. You're
Yes.
not from around here,
No.
are you?
Exactly. So, so let's start with you, Jeannie.
Sure.
Blackstone Valley Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
All right, just tell us about.
Oh my Lord,
I know.
we would need another show.
Start
Tell
from the
us.
beginning.
Well, we're very business centric. We do have some signature events that we hold, which are a lot of fun. But the chamber, our real main focus is to help business and to be a resource for business. You can see that on our website, and it's everything that we do is for a benefit of business. And the Women's Success Network, for instance, is a committee that is a good resource for women who work, live, or play in the Blackstone Valley. We're just spinning off now part of the Women's Success Network into an HR roundtable, because during COVID we had a lot of meetings with many HR managers, many of them being women. And during COVID there was a lot of confusion with guidelines changing, employment, what guidelines had to be met. And then, of course, with unemployment, it caused a lot of problems, and it's still causing problems in hiring.
Yeah.
So
That's a big thing right now.
right.
Huh?
We've
That's a
been
really
working-
big thing. People trying to find
Yeah,
people to work.
yeah. It's caused a projected $7.2 billion deficit for the state. And as a result, there's a solvency tax that is being assessed on, we feel, is wrong. It will be assessed to small businesses to pay.
Oh, no.
Through no fault of small business,
Right.
this deficit has occurred. And what other states have done is used the COVID money, the CARES Act money, the billions that the states have gotten, to fill that gap in the unemployment. But Massachusetts has one of the largest gaps in the 50 states. We have the least requirements for unemployment, and we pay the most benefits. So our deficit is much higher than others. So what we've been doing is working with businesses and other business organizations like AIM and RAM and NFIB to talk to the governor and the legislators who aren't really aware that this is becoming such a problem for
Right.
businesses, to use part of that CARES money to fill that gap. What the legislature has done is they voted to borrow $6 billion and amortize it over 20 years, which we're against that too, because a fifth grader now
Right.
gets out of high school, starts a business, they're going to be paying for what's happened now. And is that fair?
Right.
And as a Chamber of Commerce, one of our jobs is to bring business into Massachusetts.
Right.
Do you want to start a business in Massachusetts knowing that you're going to have this extra tax to pay?
Not very enticing.
No. And I mean, our phone's been ringing off the hook from businesses who are ready to pay maybe $3,000 to $6,000 for their usual tax and are getting bills for $17,000 to $20,000.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So this
Oh,
is
dear.
these are just some of the things that we do. And there's been a lot of grants that we've been helping businesses with. The PPP, of course, both rounds of PPP. And ironically, in the beginning, Chambers of Commerce were not eligible for it, so we were helping people to gain access to the funding, and we weren't eligible ourselves. The third round, we became eligible, which was nice.
Yes, finally.
So we finally did get some money from it. But right now, the state is also using part of their CARES, part of the $60 billion CARES Act money that they've gotten to slice and dice it up and offer some money to small business. And there's one right now for the town of Northbridge. It's called Micro Enterprise Business Grant. And if you are a business in Northbridge, and you have five, it's Northbridge and Douglas is in our area, actually Northbridge, Douglas, and Millbury in our area are offering this. If you have 5 or fewer employees, you are eligible for up to $25,000
Oh, okay.
in this CARES money. And this is in addition, even if you've gotten a PPP. So please look on the Town of Northbridge website for details, or you can contact me at the Chamber, and I'm happy to help you
I
with
was
that.
just going to say, so
Yeah.
so they don't really, it's not necessarily something that they know.
No.
They have to look for.
Yeah, so
Okay,
we've been
so-
trying to get the word out
Right.
because it hasn't, I mean, the town tries to get it out, they've sent out some information, but a lot of times, a sole proprietor, 5 or fewer employees,
Right.
you're busy, you're wearing
You
very
don't-
many
You're not
hats.
looking into.
You know, you're
yeah.
really not looking at it. And I know, I don't know about you, but when I get my mail, I stand in front of the basket. Boop, 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 if I don't recognize it.
Yeah.
So, you could be throwing away something that is very
Wow,
valuable.
That is so
yeah.
valuable.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Really.
And we have another one from an organization called Mass Growth Capital Corporation, of which the Chamber receives a grant every year, and we help our businesses with that, and we support a lot of municipal programs through that. but there's a technical assistance grant that is available for women-owned, veteran-owned, and minority-owned businesses, and you can get up to $10,000 for that. So if you're interested in that, and it's not just for the town of Northbridge, it's any business that's women-owned, minority, or veteran-owned, give me a call. We're happy to work with you on that.
Well, it just sounds like you're just like a, can I say plethora
Octopus?
of information. No, you're just like
Octopus.
octopus, but you just have so much that you offer at the Chamber
do.
of Commerce. I mean, honestly, to
Yeah.
not take advantage of it is, would be a sin, I think.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
do some fun things too, like
Yeah.
we
Do you?
we do have a little bit of fun.
Work hard, play hard.
Yeah. Next coming up is our Steamers at Sunset, and that's August 18th, and we had to cancel it last year. That's our big lobster bake we have at Blissful Meadows.
Oh, fun.
And that's a lot of fun, and people can play golf during the day if they'd like to. It's not a golf tournament. Although we are going to have a Nine and Dine in October at Blackstone National. And one of the events that morphed out of COVID, because we couldn't have steamers, we went to the zoo because the zoos were open, and it was outdoors. We called it Safari at Sunset, and it was a family event. And we got the whole zoo for the evening, and had buffet and served buffet because it was COVID, and it was a lot of fun. So we decided to keep that. But this year it's going to be September 22nd, I believe, and Southwick Zoo is having their Chinese lantern event at the same
beautiful.
time.
Yeah.
Pretty.
Which is amazing. I went to the one at Franklin Park Zoo during COVID, and it is just amazing. So we're going to incorporate that into the safari event this year.
Wonderful.
So that's
So
going
who's
to be a
that
lot of
open
fun.
to?
That is open to anyone. You don't have to be a chamber member.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll have a lot of fun, believe me. Yeah, really, really great.
Well, Southwick's is right down the street from me.
Oh, we love Southwood
Could
Zoo. We
walk
do
there.
a lot with them. We ended up having our jingle and mingle there because we couldn't go to Valancourt, which is always in December. And, Valancourt Folk Art, it's Christmas every day.
Right.
So we have a lot of
Exactly.
fun there. So we do some fun things as well. We just had our golf tournament
Right.
that benefits our Education Foundation and the Ed Hub as well. And
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
You were just talking about the Ed Hub.
Yes,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I want to hear more about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we want more women in trades. We have some women, we had a couple women take the welding course, which has become very popular. We're adding more of those classes. And we just received a grant for $111,000 to purchase 4 more welders, virtual welders. Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
And the education is at?
It's right across the hall from the chamber
Oh, wow.
in the mill. Yeah, come out and see
I was
us.
gonna say, we need to go.
I've
Yeah.
seen it. I have seen it.
Yeah.
At
Or
the end
have
of the
Karen on.
hallway.
Yeah, we'll have Karen Aris, who started as our executive director almost a year ago, and she has an educational background. She's she was the former assistant superintendent for Charlton Dudley School System, and she has taken us to another level. It's really great.
Oh, fantastic.
So
Yeah.
what kinds of trades?
Advanced manufacturing.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and robotics and
Amazing.
mechatronics,
Yep.
and, yeah, it's amazing. And we partner with the Grafton Job Corps, and we have some women in that class as well, and the reentry class with the Sheriff's Department, which unfortunately the Worcester Sheriff's Department is only men, but,
Right.
but that's okay, we'll teach them too.
Right. Yeah. There's a few women officers. We'll see. Yeah. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
so we have a
fantastic.
lot going on. And
Yeah.
I would also like to mention that we treat our chamber as an incubator space. So if you're a member of the chamber, you can use our conference room if you need to, free of charge, our one-on-one mentoring room, or if you need to meet with a client, or maybe you're trying to kill time between appointments, you can come in, use the desk, use our computers, you can use our office machines. I don't know if you've had Danielle DeRozier on from the Green Plate.
Not yet.
We were trying to, and we had a
Okay.
little conflict, but we are going to have her on. Yes.
We worked with her for a couple of years, and we're very instrumental in getting
Yeah.
that started, and she's one of our success stories, and we love Danielle. And she utilizes the space to come in and print her menus. If you bring your own paper, you can use our printer. And
Wow.
so we really support business. We're very business-centric.
Excellent, yes.
Plus, we
This is
advocate.
amazing,
We work
yeah.
closely with our legislators, as you could
Right.
tell.
Yes.
And we do a lot of advocacy.
Does every town have a Chamber of Commerce?
No, regions. It's regionally.
Regions, okay, it's
Yeah.
regions.
So we cover, our service area is from Worcester to Rhode Island. But we work with everyone. Leicester and Auburn are also part of the Blackstone Valley, so we work with them. And we're the largest affiliate chamber of the Worcester Chamber of Commerce. So if you join us, you also get a membership in the Worcester Chamber.
Oh,
interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I've never realized what you like. This is just, it's like a wealth of
I
information
think you have
here.
to go visit.
I do.
We'll have
See,
lunch with Donna.
I'm so
There you go.
interested.
That's right.
With Donna.
Yeah.
and
Lunch
over
with
the
Donna.
Yeah.
We do that too. We help keep
Yeah.
Donna in business.
Yeah,
Definitely.
You have to. It's a great place.
Right.
I think we plug her every single
We
show.
do. We do, and I still haven't been over, Donna. I will, I promise.
Well, when you do, let me know. We'll join
Yes.
you.
Oh,
You
good.
can
Right.
twist
All right.
our arm a little.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
And Heather's on my
Yeah.
board, so Heather knows all this too.
Yeah, but
and I'm
it's
on
just-
Heather's board. So.
I mean, just listening to you, it's like gold in our town. It really is. It's like gold.
well, we
in the
love
town.
we love the valley.
Yeah.
And I'm on the board of the Heritage Corridor too, which is wonderful. I don't know if you've had Bonnie Combs on. Okay, you'll have to have Bonnie
I know
on.
Write
her
these
name,
down.
but I know,
Corridor.
remember the
Yeah.
name. Yes.
But the valley is just beautiful.
It is.
I mean, it really is. There's so
Yeah.
many resources and so much you can do here.
Right.
Yeah, it's really a lovely, lovely area. Where else can I give directions that take a left at the pond with the swans and then take a right at the waterfall?
Exactly,
You know,
and it's
really.
perfect.
Yeah.
It gets you there
Right.
better than some of the GPSs.
That's
Yes.
the truth. And yeah.
That
wow.
might end you up in the Whitesville
Yes.
golf course.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
It really, we really do. Northbridge is just beautiful.
Oh, it
Just
is.
such-
The entire
such a
valley. There's so
beautiful
much to see
area.
and do.
Uxbridge, just beautiful. Yeah, yeah. So, gosh, I'm really learning.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
Yeah.
Really. Well, let's go
Yeah,
to Heather
let's
for a
Heather
second
talk.
because, well, I know, but
enough
we'll
about-
get back
enough
to you.
about me.
No, we're going to get back to you. Don't worry. But Heather is here. We have to be polite.
Thank you.
So Heather,
Yes.
tell us about the community center because what a challenge that must have been.
Oh.
Through COVID.
Still is.
Yes,
I mean,
it still
honestly.
is. So,
And,
yeah, we
okay,
talk
yeah.
about we were talking about the regulations and stuff. And so for us at the community center, we had 7 different sets of regulations that we had to follow.
Right.
We had one for camp, we had one for childcare, we had one for fitness, we had one for office space, we had one for pools. I mean, it just goes on. And so it was challenging to say the least because rules might be one thing in one area and another in the other. So, even just recently with the changes as of Saturday, we were able to open up the fitness room and not have masks and all of a sudden childcare wasn't like that. And, originally we were planning for childcare still needs to wear the masks in, so how do we isolate that space so that we don't have any crossover? So we created a separate entrance to come into childcare, and then Friday night of Memorial Day weekend, the childcare rules changed, and we could do it the same.
Oh, I didn't realize
So
that.
it just happened. So
that makes
it's just
sense. Okay.
we're working around the clock as Jeannie is
Yeah.
because you just never know when you're going to get an announcement or a change. But
Usually
we're
Friday at 5 o'clock.
usually Friday at 5 o'clock. So we've been so excited though to reopen fully on May 29th. We reopened. So we were closed for 4 months, which was a very long time for our staff, our members, our guests, everyone. Childcare, especially for parents, they didn't have any support. We reopened childcare on June 28th of last year, and then the fitness side on July 6th. So we've been open almost a year in both locations, both areas. We run locations in Douglas for our childcare program and at the Rockdale Youth Center. So, we talk about challenging years for children. It has been by far the most challenging years for children in our care and their families. Just trying to juggle full remote, partially remote, closed, open. It's been a very challenging year. Challenging year for our teachers. They've been absolutely amazing. Suddenly you're doing before and after school programs and now you're teaching full day. So this was not something they had ever done before and suddenly we're thrown into doing it. But, I think that we provided that safe space for families, that continuity of care that they would be missing otherwise and they were missing when we were closed. So we were thankful that we were able to reopen and we, are now able to have fun this summer for camp. Last summer I said, all right, we're having camp because there was the need. I mean, the people in our community needed a place for their children to go. We were so fortunate to have support from NEDT and Gaudette Insurance and others to help us with, doing camp, because we would have lost money on camp, which we could not afford to do. So we were so, just, all right, let's have camp. And I looked at the regulations and I said, okay, how can we have camp with no fun? Because basically we weren't allowed to have fun. You weren't allowed to be within 6 feet of each other. You weren't allowed to play with the same ball. You weren't allowed to, you had to have masks on. Limited numbers. We had like 20 kids at a camp. And so it was challenging, but the kids still had a blast. They're far more resilient than we adults are.
Absolutely.
They were able, they said, let me have fun and then I'll show you how you can have fun still. So, but we're a nonprofit organization. Almost 100 years old. Our building is almost 100 years old. It's, it's challenging to maintain almost 100-year-old building. But we have such great community support. I mean, some of the businesses are amazing. Unibank is our greatest supporter. We're so thankful to have them. Osterman Propane has been an extremely generous supporter. Koopman Lumber. I already mentioned NEDT, and but we would partner with the chamber on a regular basis to do different things. We were lucky enough to receive both PPP loans through Unibank. Thankfully, they were very helpful to us to secure both loans, and we were able to get them, as grants, so we don't have to pay those back.
Oh, that's great.
So, which, otherwise we would have been laying people off. We were literally within days of laying off our entire staff, which is over 100 people, when the first PPP was granted. So we were able to still pay people while we weren't open, and then once we opened, we were able to offset some of the costs. So, so I was teasing, we have this one member who loves the sauna, loves coming in at will, and did not like wearing a mask. So I happened to see him the other day before we opened and with everything off, and he's like, okay, I'm ready to sign up for the fitness room. I said, you don't have to sign up anymore. And he goes, I don't? I'm like, no. And he said, and I don't have to wear a mask. I already know that. I said, that's right, you don't have to wear a mask. And then he said, and what about the sauna? Now, the sauna's been shut this entire time, so the sauna just reopened on the 29th in both of our locker rooms, which is, for the men, is a really big deal, not to have the sauna open.
There was a sauna.
Oh, yeah, I knew it.
There are saunas in both locker rooms,
okay.
but the women aren't nearly as attached to the sauna as the
Okay.
men are. But he was just so excited. I said, so should I watch the camera on Saturday and watch you dance into the building? And he's like, I might. And I'm like, I know. So, it's been, I was at a senior leadership team meeting today, and we were talking, and I said, what has everybody heard? Have we heard any negative? Because we were concerned about how people would feel not wearing masks all the time. And we are advocates of, if you're not vaccinated, please wear your mask. If you are vaccinated, it's entirely your choice. We're not going to be checking vaccines either. We don't. That's not who we are. But we're thankfully everybody's been very cooperative, because I've also stated that we need to be very supportive of anybody that is wearing a mask. Nobody should be questioning them about why they're wearing a mask. No one should make anybody feel bad that they're wearing a mask, because that's their own protection. That's where they feel comfortable. And even in our senior leadership team, almost my entire team is vaccinated, but there was a few of them still not ready to give up the mask. And I went into the grocery store this weekend, and I was still wearing my mask, knowing, because I know the rules. But, I said, I'm just not ready. I'm just not there yet. And I think that everybody's going to find their own comfort level with that. And we all just need to be respectful of those decisions. And businesses and what they're deciding to do, it's a very difficult decision as a business, and we just have always said throughout this entire process that we support what the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Public Health is telling us to do. We have an extremely close relationship with our local Board of Health. Jean Ganonik and I talk all the time. Our town nurse, we literally were emailing at 8 o'clock at night. I have this situation, what do I do? And, they've been extremely supportive. They've had by far the toughest jobs in this entire process, I believe, because they couldn't do anything right as far as people were concerned. But
I
from
know,
our
I get the phone calls.
but from our perspective, they were nothing but supportive of what we were doing and guiding us, because obviously none of us knew what we were doing.
I think people take that for granted.
They do.
They took it for granted during COVID that, that you guys knew what you were doing, and with your business, with all businesses,
None of us knew.
None of us knew.
It was so chaotic.
It was, and I mean, when I tell you, I was on. I mean, Jeannie and I were talking about this back last spring. We were on webinar after webinar after webinar, or meeting, Zoom meeting, just trying to understand what was going on. Trying to understand what the rules were saying, what all the regulations were saying. It was so difficult, and if you didn't stay on top of it, it was like you lost it because it would literally change. I would be on a board call and I'd be like, okay, as of 4:15 today, because literally we'd be in a meeting and they'd be like, oh, Heather, they just changed this. So I'm like, okay, we just changed this, and we're in the middle of a meeting. And so, you did the best that you could. I think everybody just was doing the best that they could, what they felt was the best. And as Jean Ganonic said to me, as the community center, we had a responsibility to take care of our community. And so every decision we made was what we thought was the best way for us to do that. I mean, as I said, 100 people and staff, hundreds of members coming in and out every day.
Of all ages.
Of all ages, from, 6 months coming in for swim lessons up to people over 90 coming in. And talk about being happy to return.
Yes.
Those seniors were so happy to return because
Yep.
The isolation. I mean, the kids, same thing. Kids and both the seniors and the kids had isolation. And it was just so great to see people come back, and because fitness isn't just about health; it's about socialization.
Socialization, absolutely.
It is.
We just the community center in Northbridge is like. It's like the hub. I don't even know. If to me, it just makes the town. The community center. It really, really does. It's a place of comfort knowing that the community center is there. There's so much that ever since my kids were little, we would go to the community center for different activities, and I remember a Mommy and Me class with my daughter. She was 2 years old, and my son was 6 months in a car seat. So I remember that, and it's just, and there's always those good feelings. My husband, when he was younger, him telling me all the things that he used to do over there at the community center. And
we always laugh. I always say, it's funny because I always say when I meet somebody who grew up here, they say one of three things to me. They say, I learned to roller skate there, I learned to swim there, or I played basketball there.
Yeah.
And I used to always be able to say, well, we do all of that still, but for a period of time we had to give up roller skating because it just wasn't a safe sport for us to be able to do. And so we added that back in probably about 2 months ago, and it was just like something had been missing. It was like that. This is tradition. This is what we do. So we actually extended it normally than we normally do. We usually end it sooner. But we said we're going to go right up to the summer schedule, but then it's just too hot in the gym because we don't have air conditioning. So we'll bring it back in the fall. But yes, it is that sense of tradition and community and being together, and we're so fortunate for camp. We're able to be outside. We're going to be we have the park right next to us, so we have a 7.5 acre beautiful park, which was great for walks. We got into taking walks during COVID to just get a break, and we're so fortunate to have the park there to do that. And but with camp, we're putting up tents and we're putting out tables and we're doing as much. That's what we did all of last summer, with the exception for one half day. We were outside the entire summer because it was just when you come inside, you have more restrictions. You got to wear the masks. You got to be 6 feet apart. And now they've lessened some of those rules, but we still think it's the safest, most fun place to be. Outside, because these kids have spent way too much time inside.
Absolutely. What are there any changes? Because I always find this interesting right now. Now that we're transitioning to going back to normal, so to speak. Is there anything that you changed during COVID that you will keep?
Yes, actually.
So I think that's so interesting.
We
You learned something better.
We did. Well, so one of the things that we had done on a limited basis was pre-register for classes. So you would sign up for a slot in the classes. And it would only be certain classes that we needed to do that in, for like spin classes because we have a limited number of bikes, or TRX class because we had a limited number of bands. So we had that in place. Then all of a sudden COVID happened and we had to do contact tracing, and we needed to know who was in where and at what time and in what part of our building, so that if there was ever an outbreak, we could give the Board of Health the people who might have been exposed. And thankfully we didn't have to do that. But we with this, we said this is actually working really well. We people like knowing that they have a spot. So even if it's not something that is a limited number like that, they still could have a slot. And lap swimming, the same thing. So we never did that with lap swimming. So there's a limited number of slots for lap swimming because we only do 2 per lane at most. And through COVID, we had only 1 per lane. So we had to have people signing up. Well, they liked knowing that if I was going there, I was going to be able to do my lap swim at that time. So I schedule my time and I know. So we kept that. Nobody wanted to keep daily screening, so we got rid of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
And
Especially if you forgot and you're halfway
Yes.
into the class. and
Yes,
you're like,
yes. Forget the
Yeah.
screening,
No, that's right.
forget the
You should go there
mask.
for
You
exercise.
didn't want to do any of that. So, but we also but like in a space like the fitness room, that just didn't make sense to have that scheduled time. Because everybody, how long they take to work out is so different. Whereas, with lap swim, you kind of know it should be about 45 minutes. With classes, we know that they're 45 minutes to an hour long class. But with the fitness room, some people will do a half-hour workout, some people will do an hour workout, some people do an hour and a half workout. So for us, we just took it away for that piece. So we kind of looked at it and said, and then we had created mud rooms. So we put out chairs and places where you could put your shoes and hang up your stuff right outside a space. So for example, right outside the pools. So you didn't have to go to the locker room if you didn't want to.
Is that going to stay?
That's going to stay for right now because it just gives people another option. Some people aren't comfortable going into locker rooms yet. So this gives another option. So
I mean, not even considering COVID, but just considering right now, I don't even want to get a cold.
correct.
So let's keep hand sanitizer everywhere you can possibly think, and
I think it's here to
It's good
stay.
you mentioned that because as we left
the
all of
truth.
our stations up everywhere, we
Yeah.
left all of the hand sanitizer up. We said we left all of our clean. So we had the cleaning was crazy that we had to do in the
But
community center.
can I just jump in?
Yes.
As a member of
Yes.
your community center,
Yes, which is great.
you have never shut down during that whole time that you've reopened and stayed open. So that tells me you've never had a case in your building.
Correct.
And
Correct.
I
That's
just,
awesome.
it
great.
is
Yeah.
phenomenal to me,
Thank
and I
you.
commend you
Yes.
for everything
Thank
that you did.
Yes,
But,
our staff worked extremely hard, and we
showed.
had in the fitness room we would be open for an hour, so a block of time you would get an hour block of time, and then we were shut for half an hour of cleaning throughout the day. So we were cleaning 10 times a day, just the
Wow.
fitness room alone.
Right.
We don't do that anymore, but we're clean. We're still asking our members to clean before and after. Our staff is going and cleaning every hour. We're cleaning all high touch areas because we said the same thing.
Yeah.
How great was it? We had no flu.
Yeah.
We didn't have all these germs. And
Exactly.
why can't we just continue to do this?
Especially in
So
a gym.
so
That's where you're gonna
exactly,
get
yeah.
those
So
germs
we
and
bought a
yeah.
fogger, a fogging machine. So we did that in the fitness room every night. So we now expanded that to do it in the aerobics room and the spin room because now all the equipment's back down there because we had moved a lot of things up to our gymnasium.
Okay.
So we're moving them back down into their spaces and we're going to just do that every single night. So there's just that extra layer of caution,
Yeah.
and cleanliness and sanitizing.
Right.
So we took our jobs very seriously because that was the last thing we wanted to
Yeah.
have happen was anybody to feel that they
Amazing.
got sick because of something happening at the community
Right.
center.
Right.
yeah.
Oh, there's like 2 gems in Northbridge. Seriously.
We have many,
Well, we
but
do,
these are
but
2
I'm
of the
just saying.
biggies
These are
right
big.
here.
Great, thank you.
But
Yes.
we do collaborate with a number of organizations that work very hard. And one thing I do need to say about the Valley is that the collaboration, cooperation here is is unbelievable. You know, it's a great place to be. People do pitch in, and they do appreciate, you know, what we have here, like the community center. Heather has a yeoman's job, believe it, you know, or not, but she really does. I'm always amazed when I'm at her board meetings at everything that she is reporting on, from, you know, the building to cleaning to, you know, swim classes, whatever. So,
Wow.
you know, and honestly, I think as women, we multitask very well, and we do a lot, and I think that as women, we do our jobs better than it would be as, you know, as a man. But
She said it.
I did, you know, breaking through the glass ceiling.
You know, I think Jeannie might have been the same. Well, I don't know actually, but for me, I'm the first woman
Right.
executive director at the
Yes.
community center. It was all men before,
Yeah.
and you know, and but Charlie, who is the predecessor, what I call the predecessor to
Yeah.
me, there was two in between him and
Yeah.
I, but Charlie was
They
there for
don't
34 years. So
Yeah.
we don't count.
No.
We
But
were there-
Charlie's a great supporter.
He
Yeah.
is, and he's on my board
I was gonna
now.
say, he's
He
still on the
is.
board.
He is
Yeah.
on the board,
Yeah.
and so, you know,
And he agrees with me. So.
you know, but we're fortunate to, I mean, my board was, you know, amazing during the process. I mean,
met
we
every
were
week.
we were meeting
Every
every
week.
single
Yeah.
week last
Wonderful.
spring and summer.
So you had that support.
We had the support because it was hard. It was hard decisions we were making. You know, to lay off all of your staff was an extremely hard decision for
Yeah.
us. I mean, because these are family members for us, and you know,
Yeah.
it's not just our
not just a job,
livelihood, and it's their livelihood, and you know, many of our staff are, you know, this is their job. This is contributes to their families, and it's just so difficult to make those decisions.
Yeah.
Closing for 4 months, you know, we refunded everything. So we refunded, you know, 4 months worth of, you know, for spring's,
Wow.
you know, schedule stuff,
That's
any of
big.
the classes, all
Yep.
the swim lessons, all the child care. We didn't charge the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't charge membership. We
yeah.
extended membership for the length of time that we were closed. We allowed people actually to defer their membership for a year. So if they, you know, had paid.
We did that
for-
at the chamber too.
yeah.
Good.
So
Nice.
I mean,
People
you know,
did
you
that.
had
Yeah.
to make those
Yeah.
decisions
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
because whose fault was it?
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
anybody's
No.
fault.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know, at this, you know, how do you say, I'm sorry, I'm just taking your money, and even
Yeah.
though we're not open and you can't go in, we're
Right.
still going to keep your money.
Right.
It just,
Right.
you know, it wasn't the
Yeah.
right thing to do. So we, you know, we had to make those. But you know, it's a tough decision as a business, and as a person responsible for the business. You know, my finance director and my assistant finance director, thank goodness they were there. You know, we were the ones trying to figure this all out, and
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
Make it
difficult.
right.
It was
Yeah. And I have to say that every board member took their job seriously. Like, for instance, I had a call with the governor's office every Friday. So we would gather information, and if there were any questions about what to do, I would ask directly the
Good.
secretary or the governor, you know, I have this member who has this question, or the community center needs to know about this. So we would get the answer directly and be able to report that back.
Yeah.
And other members of the board had other duties that they met. So, you know, that's what keeps an organization going is, you know, everyone believing in it and supporting it. And the same thing with the chamber, you know. We're very fortunate. You mentioned a few of the sponsors. Unibank was a great sponsor, always the number one sponsor for the chamber. They help us so much. Millbury Federal Credit Union, and, you know, they just really step up
Right.
for us, people like
Right.
that. So,
Right.
you know, it's important that we work together, working with the Worcester Chamber of Commerce and, you know, sharing all of our resources, and all the chambers in Massachusetts working together. We met almost weekly, too, the Chambers of Commerce, and shared ideas and had a peer chain going if anyone had a
Nice.
question. And that's, you know, that's how we survived,
Yeah.
was supporting each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we have fun at the community center
Yeah.
too. We have some
Yes.
events coming
You do.
up.
Yeah,
I was
you
gonna
do.
say, You might
Yeah.
want to mention some of
Yeah.
your community events.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is our fundraiser, so which we haven't been able to have in almost 2 years. So it's crazy to think about, but this and of course now, like everybody else, we're all going to be doing events over the next, same with the chamber, over the next several months, just to try to catch up as nonprofits.
Right.
So we have our classic car show, and we're so excited we get to have it this year. It's
When
going to
is
be
that?
outside, and that's on August 21st.
Awesome.
And we last year, 2019, not last year, we had over 300 cars, and it's just a fun event outside, and it's just these
one of my
beautiful
favorite.
cars.
I
Yes,
volunteer
I
there.
know.
I love
Yeah, you
that.
volunteer
Yeah.
every year at that one. So,
fun.
and then we're gonna also have a golf tournament on September 13th, and it's gonna be to help fund our gym renovation. Because our gymnasium needs, it's a
Little TLC.
little TLC. 60-year-old floor, no air conditioning, needs some paint, needs some, there's just, again, I call that the heart of the community center.
It
It's
absolutely is.
It
so
is.
many programs that go, roller skating is in there,
I know.
basketball is in there, of
know,
course,
yes.
and talk about basketball, men's basketball had a hard time not being able to play,
Yeah.
so they've been
Gosh.
back and they're happy, and, and then we did our silver sneakers classes, so our seniors classes were up there,
Thank
and then
you.
our child, and then our child care program, that's one of their play spaces. So it really, it's all ages, and so that's an important focus for us. And then we do the Greenway Challenge, which we are very excited. We can now run a race, which is awesome. So that is actually starting in Lincoln Woods in Rhode Island on September 25th, and we're ending at the community center this year.
nice.
So we're very
nice.
excited to celebrate that. So that goes through Douglas State Forest and Riverbend Farm, and throughout the valley on the way up. So we're very excited to be able to do that. That's that's a team race. It can be a fun race. It can be very competitive if you're ready to get out and do something. You can do it all by yourself. You can do a team of 8 people. However it works, but it's it's a nice way to see the valley.
Yeah, run, bike, paddle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a mixed race. So
Yeah.
you can, and there's just different legs of the race. So
Yeah.
different
Nice.
people can do it, or we have
Nice.
the very crazy people that do it
Do the
all
whole thing?
on their.
Yeah.
How many miles
Ironman,
is it?
yeah. I don't even
Oh.
know.
I don't know
Yeah.
off the top of my head.
Actually, it changes yearly
does
depending
change,
on
yes,
the route because they change the
yes.
route.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
And I should know, and Charlie's going to be very upset
Yeah.
with me.
That's
if I don't
okay.
know.
It's okay.
We won't-
I didn't ask it. We'll
Yeah.
edit it. We'll
take
edit
that
that out. We'll edit it out. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
But it's great that they're the end point because there's so many activities that can go on there.
Yeah.
People are waiting for their team to come in
Definitely.
and families come.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
where the community center is so family oriented, you can have stations for the kids and
Yes,
so that's
some
really
fun
going to be
things.
fun.
Yeah,
Fun.
yeah. And
Definitely.
then we have our gala this year
I was just going to say, where is it
So-
going to be?
in the gymnasium.
Oh, it's in the gymnasium.
It's in the
I
gymnasium
was
this year.
Oh, because
So-
wasn't it one time at the top in the town hall?
Yes.
Yes, that
last
was
time it was
fun.
in the
That
town
was fun,
hall.
yeah.
That's my
'cause
dream
they're-
to have something for the senior
the,
center
the
there.
great room.
Oh.
Yeah,
It is, it's
beautiful
beautiful.
space,
Oh,
beautiful
beautiful,
space.
yeah.
We loved it. It was great because it had been recently renovated,
Yeah.
almost as old as we are.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of fun. That was our speakeasy theme. This year
Right.
it's a homecoming sock hop. So
fun.
in the gym,
Yeah,
so
fun.
we're very excited and we're so happy that we can have more than 10 people in it.
Exactly.
So but we've moved it twice or 3
Yeah.
times.
Well,
I
it's
can't
like the
remember.
expo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Right.
when is that one?
That is November 13th, I think.
Oh,
Or
fun.
12th,
Oh,
yeah.
good.
So
Because I
it's-
was thinking about
it's
that
in November.
gym, and if it's
Yes.
in the summertime, that
No,
was not going to
November,
work. Okay.
November. So
Good.
Oh, fun.
yeah, so we're very excited about that, and
That is exciting.
It will be fun. It will be
Yeah.
a very just homecoming. That's the theme.
Reconnecting.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Enjoying
Yes.
time together,
Yeah,
and
right.
we have Peppers
Wow.
that caters for us,
nice.
and it's just it's just very creative and fun. And if you haven't been, you should go because
Yeah.
it's a
Right.
lot of
It
fun.
really is a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'll have to get.
And you get to dress up and be somebody
Yeah,
else.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
So some people dress in
Yeah.
theme, and then other people don't.
Yeah.
And
Right.
whatever you're comfortable in.
Right.
And Practice your hand jive, because we're
Yeah.
gonna definitely do that. So
How fun is that?
yes,
Oh,
yeah.
how much fun is that?
Yeah, some of the
That's awesome.
committee members are dressing up as the pink ladies.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
I have the
nice.
pink
Great.
lady leather jackets. We'll have to do
Oh,
that.
neat.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
definitely.
Fun.
So,
That's
you know,
just,
Letterman's jackets, you know,
Right.
for
Great
the
to just
men.
think about
Yeah.
being able
Yeah.
to do this stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Things
Yeah.
that we haven't
Such
done
an appreciation right now for all
while.
of this, don't you think?
It's
Just an
exciting.
appreciation.
And that's it. I
Yep.
think we appreciate
Yeah.
the little things a
Yeah.
lot more than we ever did before.
Definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah, when we came
exactly.
in, one of the gentlemen asked us they asked Jeannie about the expo, and
Right,
you know,
yes.
it was that moved around a few times.
Yeah, twice we had to move it.
So when is that going to be?
That's going to be March 12th, 2022.
Oh, okay, so next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we were going to try to have it this summer, but didn't realize there was no air conditioning at the school. And then we would have to get a tent,
Right.
and there was all kind of logistical problems, and
Right.
so it's better to move it. Yeah.
What a great way to
Yeah.
what to just showcase
Yeah.
the businesses in our area.
And that
What a
was the
great
thing. I mean, I'm on the
thing.
programs and events
Yeah.
committee for the I've been doing the expo for a very long time.
Yeah.
So
Before
if you didn't
me.
know, I worked for the Chamber
Yeah.
of Commerce before I worked
were
for the
you
community
with-
center.
You were with this Chamber of Commerce.
I was with this
Yeah.
Chamber
I
of
was
Commerce
with
for 4
membership.
years
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
prior to Jeannie
Yeah.
joining. So Jeannie and
I
I knew
was-
each other, but we didn't
Yeah,
work
I was,
together.
I
Yes.
was the director of the Convention and Visitors Bureau, so I used to
Yes.
work with Heather.
Yes,
But,
yes,
yeah.
but
It's
not
a long
yeah,
history.
So, but it was a tough decision because I think one of the biggest things was, will people come?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, that's
That
a
was the other
tough.
part
That's
of
a,
it.
you know,
Right.
we get
Put all the
thousands of
effort in.
people
Right.
each year that we do it, and so how do you say to the businesses,
Yeah.
okay, you might only get a few
Right.
hundred instead, and like you said, this is so important to the businesses that you really wanted to make sure they were going to get the best experience possible
Definitely.
as they try to come back
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
where they're at as
Right.
well.
We participated the first year that I was there.
The Friends group did.
The
Our
Friends
Friends
group
of
did, yeah.
Northbridge Elders.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That
and,
was
and
yeah.
the chamber was so kind to give
Yeah.
us actually two. It was like a double
Yeah.
space.
It was great.
Don't tell
Yeah,
me
don't
she's on the
tell.
board.
Great. Oh,
I know
That was
that.
a long time
I know
ago.
that, but they don't all know
was a
that. She
long
next
time
thing
ago.
her phone's going to be off the hook. Everybody's going to want that double deal.
One thing we do at the expo for nonprofits is we go out to the businesses and ask them to support it so that you don't have to pay for your
and
food.
that's what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
You were able to get us a lovely
Sponsor.
sponsor.
Yeah.
I don't know who that person was,
Yeah.
but we thank you.
Well, we,
Yeah,
we
that's
gave
great.
you, well, on your table, there was
Right.
a thank you in a
Okay.
frame to
Yeah.
that person. I don't know who it
But
was
that was
either,
fun.
but,
So nice.
yeah.
Oh, this
Yeah.
is just great.
Yeah, we love
Again,
the
it's
expo is great.
collaboration.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
expo is great.
Yeah.
I mean, the
I
community
love
center's
that.
been
That's a great
participating
expo.
for
Probably
Yeah.
since day one.
well
right?
before me.
Yeah.
So and and I
Yeah.
know Charlie did it too. And
And it's
And
interactive.
it's
I mean, they don't
interactive.
just have a table. It's interactive. They have games. They have coloring. They,
It's
oh,
free stuff.
yes, there's free stuff. You can win a family membership,
Exactly,
which is the big
wonderful.
draw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good one.
And I always love the seniors.
Yeah.
They come around with
With
their
their bag.
stickers,
Get their-
and their
get their-
stickers with their
Oh.
names already
Oh,
on
right.
it, the address
Yes.
labels, so that they can
Very
apply
smart.
for
That
every
is very
raffle.
smart.
Yeah,
That's
they're
really
very
So
smart.
Beeline, we
And-
put Unibank right in front of the door so they can go get their
Get
Unibank
their
bag,
bag.
And
Yep.
then-
and then
Yeah.
fill it
and then
up.
finish with the
Yeah.
Koopman bucket at
Yeah.
the end, and for the second round. So
Yeah.
I mean that's
It's great.
a tradition as
Yeah.
well. You know,
Exactly.
Exactly.
we have so much fun with it, and for us it's like home week.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
it's homecoming
it
week
is.
too,
Right.
because we see people that we've
Hadn't
known
seen
and
in a while.
Right.
and we'll look forward to hopefully getting everyone back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
New and old faces.
Yeah. Well, before we run out of time, because this is flying
know,
by,
it
Kelly,
is,
I
it is.
really, really, really want to talk about the Women's Success Network.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Because that
What
was,
is this?
Yeah, I know. I love it. And you know what I said to, I actually talked to you about this before. It's like the question being, why do we have to have a Women's Success Network? But obviously I know the answer to that. But, it's kind of, to think about it, the fact that this is such a great networking for women in business.
Yeah, and
right
it's a
now.
support system too.
Absolutely.
Things are changing, which is great. But for many, many years, women were not recognized. We're still not at the same pay scale as men, and it's, things are not on an even keel. But we're working more towards that, and women have been brought up differently than men. They don't negotiate as well as men do, not only in for their pay scale, but even in their work atmosphere. You know, that's negotiating too. We were talking about this at, you know, the HR roundtable. When you're dealing with a client, that's negotiation as well. So, you know, women need women to bolster themselves, and they become better employees, they become better people, and they work on that work-life balance. Women tend to multitask, to overwork, and we get out of whack. We're like a, you know, a wheel that isn't quite right. We're that wheel in the grocery cart that doesn't quite work
Doesn't work
right.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
So to really work on a work-life balance and you know, get ourselves to have a happier life and make a better life for ourselves. Women now, there are more single mothers. Women, a lot more women are breadwinners. So, you know, for women to realize you can be a woman, you don't have to be a man in order to do this. You don't have to change your personality or anything like that. You can
Right.
still be caring, you can still be emotional, but it's to do it in the right way. And a lot of what we do in the Women's Success Network supports that.
Yeah.
I know Heather can, you know, talk more to that as well.
Yeah, I
Right.
think,
Yeah.
you know, I think to your point earlier, you said that there was, you know, women took on a lot of the burden of the remote learning, and that certainly is something we're hearing. And, you know, and I think, how do you re-enter? How do you get back to it? And I think as to why, we get each other.
Yeah.
So it's that support system.
Yeah.
It's that, you know what I'm going through. There's that natural mentoring that goes
Yeah.
on. You know, I mean, Jeannie mentors me. You know, I hopefully mentor other people as
Right.
well. You know, it's that opportunity to share your
Yeah.
lessons learned. I mean, because we've all had different experiences, but we share some of the same experiences.
Right.
You know, someone like me at my nonprofit may have a similar situation to somebody at a large corporate
Right.
bank
Right.
or something
Yeah.
like that, you know, and
Right.
or a small business who's trying to do everything, you know,
Right.
all of the tasks, you know.
Right.
And we reach out to a number of our women students. We had a number of students from the Grafton Job Corps, that women come from disadvantaged families. And at one of our breakfasts, we had Lori Leshin, who is the president of WPI, and she's also a NASA scientist. And she spoke, and the young women from Job Corps came up to me and said, "Can we talk to her?" And it's like, of course you can talk to her. That's why she's here.
Right.
It's a sharing experience
Right.
to realize
Definitely.
your self-worth of, you know, that of what you can do, and that the sky's the limit, that you can do that. And, you know, to realize that you can delegate. You can actually delegate. You don't have to do everything.
Yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't?
That's a hard lesson
It
for me to
is very
learn.
hard.
You know,
It
I'll
is.
get up like at 4:30 and clean the house before I leave for
Right.
work, and it's ridiculous. Why am I doing that? You know, because it's up here.
Right.
So we need to retrain ourselves to get that work-life balance.
But the Women's Success Network is really just, it's a networking.
It's a support
It's a
group.
support
Yeah.
group. So you have these guest speakers, you have breakfasts, you have
Yeah,
Networking
so we
events,
We
yeah.
did a lot of virtual
We have
stuff
committees.
during the things, but
Yeah.
we've just started some
Okay.
committees to get back into
Nice.
it. So networking committee, a programs committee, I call it social services. We might change the name, but that's the one that I'm chairing, and it's really about how else can we do things
Yeah.
together. So for us, we're looking for community service opportunities,
Yeah, and outreach.
in outreach
Yeah.
and mentoring, you know, so that we're doing more of that, and that's a natural way to network when you're not really networking, right?
Right.
You're not at a business after hours. Now,
Right.
some people are more comfortable when they know this is a business place, we go to business after hours, we talk to each other. Somebody else might feel more comfortable going to, you know, go
Maybe the
plant
senior center,
flowers
or
or
go to the
go to
senior
senior
center.
center and
Right.
volunteer.
Yeah.
And you're all together, so you're going to talk to each other, but
Exactly.
it's not as formal.
Right.
You know, it's finding, we call it your own definition of
Right.
success. You know, each woman determining their own definition of
Yeah.
success, and how can you help each other get there.
And it's supporting each other. Madeline Albright is quoted as saying, and I love this, is there's a special place in hell for women who do not support each other.
Aye. 1,000%. This is what we're all about on this show.
Yeah.
This is what you guys are all about, with what you do. That's why we showcase the women, so that we can lift each other up and we could support each
Right.
other.
I know, that was going to be
It's
my
just
question to you.
What?
Why do you have Women of Worth when you could have, you know, a show for everybody?
True. Well, it's true, because
Yeah,
women
exactly.
sometimes don't see each other as
As
worthy.
worthy,
As worthy.
yes, you're right.
Yeah.
So
You're
we
right.
want to foster that in this
Exactly.
show and in everything that we do every day that we work at the senior center, that you work at the chamber, that you work at the community center. So, yeah. So how do you join? We only have about 1 or 2 minutes. How do you join the Women's Success Network?
Actually, we say connect. You don't have to be a chamber
Okay.
member,
Okay.
but we get a lot of chamber members from it, so it's kind of
Okay.
seeing the worth.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
And
check
you just
out.
go to the
yeah.
Chamber's
Yeah, just
website,
go to the-
blackstonevalley.org.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
So just so Blackstone Valley Chamber of Commerce and Whiten Community Center. What great gems. in
Yeah.
And
the
they can join the
community.
community center online too, right?
Right,
Yeah.
whitencommunitycenter.com.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a great place.
That's always a great place. Well, thank you so much for being with us.
Well,
And
thank
you.
this was a really great
Yeah.
show.
Thank you
really
so
great
much for
show.
having
I
us.
learned a lot today.
me
I
too.
really did learn a
You learn
lot.
something
Yeah.
every day.
Really appreciate it. And join us next time on Women of Worth. It'll be our last show of the season.
It will. So we're going to do a little
do some
recap.
recaps. That's what we're going to do for the next show. So
Yeah.
join us in the next show. And thanks so much for joining. And always remember, you're a woman of worth.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.